Howdy, 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 folks. Welcome to the show. I had a client of mine, I think she's doing the show for the first time, and she got there right on time, and she's like, well, maybe I missed it, or I'm on the wrong thing. And I'm like, dude, it's me, the late Mark Smith. Soren, what's up, dog? How's it going? I have my handy dandy magical wand tonight. I have my little stress ball. I got my new necklace I got when I was in San Francisco. So I'm ready to rock and roll tonight. I have 3 agendas for tonight, folks. Judy, hello there. 3 agendas. One is I have a presentation called sow like a farmer sows. I think I'm talking to a farmer. Sow hope and joy, not shame and fear. And I got inspired while Renda and I were in San Francisco. We were riding the cable cars, and something happened on the cable cars that inspired me to make a video, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet till tonight. So we're going to have cable car experiential wisdom. Hello, Recovery with Cresta and Sarah Welty. She called me Marky Mark. I like that. I like being called Marky Mark. Okay, so we're going to do the presentation, and then I do have it was supposed to be 2 paragraphs. She got a little carried away. This is the regular from the show, and she has some questions, so we're going to do a little therapy with Marlene. So 2 agendas, and then after that, it'll be a free-for-all. You guys can either ask questions, or I'll get Fernando, the rubber chicken, out, and he and I'll sing. So it's up to you. There's a lot of pressure on you as to which direction that we're going to go. I'm going to get a drink here, and then I'm going to get into this presentation. People never know when to come and join the show when I run late like this. We're up to 10. Keep coming, 11, keep coming. Get a swig here. It's not an alcoholic beverage. Okay. Let me say something before I get into the presentation. My client from Canada, I hope you found your way to the show. You can comment, my client from Canada, and Recovery with Crest is trying to stay awake. I guess I'm boring. Dude, I'm going to light you up. You're going to be awake in a little bit here. Tell you what. It's going to get real interesting, promise me. My client from Canada, feel free to type in and chat. Jackie's in the house. Sarah said poop. There's my wife saying, hey, everybody. Sarah said poop. She forgot her soda. Okay, now, here we go. I'm going to take a throat lozenge, and then we're going to get down. All right? Okay. So, you know what? When we go through life, you can spread joy, or you can spread shame. And let me break that down. Hey, Judy, you said that you have PTSD and you have to talk about what happened to get out of it. The thing is, I know it'll never go away. How do I deal with this? All right. So, Judy, I'm going to mark your question down. Judy, PTSD, go away. So I'm going to come back. Remind me to come back to it, all right? But right now, I'm not going to answer any questions. So don't y'all ask questions. And don't say poop the way Sarah did. We'll just do this presentation. You're welcome, Judy. So anyway, Brenda and I got in the line for the cable car down by the water. Soren's in an orientation program with 42 18-year-old girls, and he's 32. You better mind your P's and Q's, my brother. We were down by the water, getting on the cable car. We got halfway up to where we load on the cable car, and I realized we didn't have any tickets. So I went and got some tickets, found a bathroom, and to use the bathroom, you got to go to Starbucks. So I didn't want to offend Starbucks, so I had to get me a latte. Elated Dahlia, what's unbelievable? Something's unbelievable. So I'm standing in line. I got my latte, and we're about ready to get on the cable car. Have you all ridden the cable car? If you haven't ridden it, it's one of life's coolest experiences. Whenever I get on, I think I told you guys, I sing Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat. Remember that commercial from the 70s that was so effective in selling Rice-A-Roni? So recovery with Cresta, she's using mindfulness and breath work and meditation. So again, hang on to not only your questions, but your wisdom, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Soren took the cable car around Hong Kong last year, and it was cool. I didn't know Hong Kong had any cable cars. So I went to get on, but I had my half-drunken latte, and a really mean guy, he goes, "You can't bring that on this cable car. You got to throw that away." And it was quite a dilemma. Throwing half of a nice, warm, delicious latte away is a sin against coffee. So I was like, sin against coffee, Rice-A-Roni, San Francisco treat, cable car. It was hard. So I handed over. He was an asshole, Soren. You got that right. So by the time I found a trash can, I missed the cable car, and we had to wait for the next cable car. First of all, these guys take about 5 times longer to turn the cable car around than they have to. And there's like 7 of them just standing around wearing uniforms. Tamika, the storyteller's here. Hey, Tamika, I'm telling a story. Hey, Betty, I'm telling a story. So they finally got the next cable car turned around, and Brenda and I, we wanted the best spot on the back, and we went running to the back, and we got the best spot on the other side on the back. Hey, Marlene, you're up next, dude. Hey, DD, I ain't talking no politics like I did on Facebook today, so don't get me going. We ran over there, and we got on, and we were sitting in the back, and then this guy systematically sat people, and he comes along, and I didn't want him to put some fat guy. I was sitting down in the back, and they let people hang over the side, and I didn't want some fat guy to be standing in front of me. I couldn't see anything. So I stood up. So I was like blocking out. I had my seat, I could sit down, and I was blocking out, and I was breaking the rules. And he came up and he said, "Sir, once you stand up, you got to stand up. You can't sit down no more." Then, of course, I sat down. I didn't call him an asshole, but I inferred it. And there was no way in the world. I'm telling a story, Elated, about spreading joy. All right? Hang with me. We're going to spread some joy. All right? I'm telling a story about San Francisco and a cable car. Greenleaf, I can't say your first name. You want advice about how to handle abusive parents. I'm going to put you on the list. Greenleaf, abusive parents. The way we work is we do a presentation, and then we may answer a question, and then we get to the answering your questions. All right, cool. Cable car story. So I thought this guy was going to toss me from the cable car, even though I was the first. Brenda and I were the first ones to sit down. And he looked at me askance, and he told the fat guy, "Why don't you move down in front of this guy?" And he didn't. So I ended up having my cake and eat it too. I could stand up, I could sit, but maybe I was bending the rules a little bit. But I don't think the last guy on the cable car should stand in front of the first guy on the cable car. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, but there was about 5 of them. None of them was smiling. They were all frowning, and they were barking orders. I felt like I was in prison. I felt like I had committed a crime, and I really was afraid I was going to get the heave-ho from, the back end of that cable car. And I felt afraid. I felt ashamed. I felt alienated. Didn't have my latte. And then all through the trip, they were just bitching at us and carrying on and keep your hands inside. Do this, do that. And you know what? Riding a cable car should be like going to Disneyland. It should be fun. They should have, instead of those guys down there loading up the cable car, they should have Disney characters like Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and have some fun with it. You know what I'm saying? So we got down there, and there was a big old line. Maybe these guys are the ghosts from Alcatraz. So this big old line, it turns out the big old line was right next to where my son works. My son is like a executive with DoorDash, and he was right there. I wish I'd have known, because then I had to go looking for him later in the week. But anyway, we waited and waited and waited, and there was people doing music. Got back on the cable car, and the engineer in the cable car, he had so much joy. He was smiling. He was joking. He was gentle. He was kind. We went by another cable car, and those things go by real close. And I said, "Hey, can we reach out and give a high five?" He goes, "Well, you're not supposed to, but oh well, it sounds fun to me." So this guy, the trip back was like a party. Honey, you can chime in and tell your experience of what the second guy, what the trip back was like versus the first trip. Tamika the storyteller says, people at my work neither love me or hate me because I'm very blubbery. And apparently we don't want happiness all around them. Bubbly. I thought you said you were blubbery. You're bubbly. Actually, it says bubberly. Oh, I might get in trouble for calling a lady blubbery when she's just bubbly. But here's my point is, Soren says he has infectious joy, and that sometimes can piss people off. Dee Dee says she's blubbery. My wife said that was a Freudian slip. Tamika said it's all good. But here's the thing. Any work, if you do it in service to mankind and in service to God, if you believe in God, any work is important work and has dignity to it, right? What a wonderful job to be an engineer on a cable car. You might not make a ton of money. You might not impress people at parties. It might seem mundane to you being the cable car engineer, but to somebody who's never ridden a cable car before and who's never going to ride it again, and this is their only experience with it, it's pretty friggin' awesome. So Brenda says if you're not happy with your job, you need a new job. And these guys just seem like union, angry. Sarah Welty says Maya Angelou was the first female cable car operator. Sarah, thank you for that. What a blessing. What a blessing. Judy, cable cars aren't real tall. They're only about 2.5, 3 feet off the ground. I don't think you'd have to worry about heights with a cable car. Or were you talking about roller coaster rides? I don't know. So, any work, if you do it with integrity, is sacred work. And I want to tell you that this man who brought joy and humor and grace and kindness and gentleness, he made me so happy. On the way back, hey Jill again. On the way back, it was like a party. There was just a spirit of celebration, celebrating San Francisco, celebrating the magic of a cable car ride, celebrating a beautiful day. It couldn't have been a more beautiful day. Celebrating the gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous city of San Francisco. So I just want to encourage y'all in your everyday life to try to bring a measure of joy to people. Because here's this, he's just one man out of 8. And his spirit of joy and kindness and love dominated that trip and really touched me. In the Bible, there's a verse that says, laughter is good medicine. Laughter is good medicine. The reason that I have Fernando the rubber chicken make an occasional appearance on the show. I'm not going to let him sing right now because I'm telling the story. Is he makes people laugh. All right, I'm gonna let him sing a little bit. He makes me laugh. So, laughter is a merry heart doeth good like a medicine. Jackie got that right from the Bible. Hey, Liberty, how some of the usual characters are here. So I was playing basketball the other day, and I don't know why it is, but all the fellas like making fun of me. Not in a bad way. I'm like the mascot of the basketball court. And anyway, this guy ended up getting bit, and he said, I done it. I don't remember biting this fella, but he was just carrying on about, you got to watch out for Mark. He'll bite you. And, you know, I'm 60 years old, and I'm playing against a bunch of 34-year-olds. Hey, Annie. And I was joking with him. I said, pardon my language, I said, y'all motherfuckers better not come down here. I'll bite you. And it was just funny. Maybe he had to be there at the time. But let me tell you a story in a story. This is like you heard a dream within a dream. I'm going to tell you a story within a story. And I might start crying. When I was in grade school, I was a lost child. I didn't talk much. My hair was all fuzzy wuzzy, and they would just shave it. And we moved every year and a half because my dad was in the Air Force. And the truth is that I never connected with my mother when I was a baby or when I was a little boy. And I thought it was dumb. I really did. I thought I was dumb. And I got C's on my report card. And my mother told my little brother just beneath me that he was a genius and he could do anything. But I thought I was dumb. We get to the end of the year and the teachers would make comments. I saw them on my report card, and they all said, Mark's really nice. They said, Mark's a really nice boy. They didn't say a goddamn thing about me being smart. Boy, they said I was nice, though. But I got the message. So I was getting C's until the 8th grade, and I went to the 8th grade. I went to the 8th grade in social studies, and my teacher was a great teacher, and his name was Joe Genovese. Y'all might have heard of the Genovese crime family. Vito Genovese was the head of the mafia in New York City years ago. And this guy got away from the mafia, got away from the Genovese crowd, moved to Kokomo, Indiana, became a social studies teacher. And I don't know how it happened, but when Mr. Genovese, the teacher, looked at me, he thought I was smart. Every week we'd have a quiz on current events, and I'd get a perfect quiz every time. And this may not have been the way it was But what I remember, he would actually put the desk in order of who was the baddest ass in the class. And my desk was number 1. What did I grow up and become? I grew up and became a therapist and studied psychology. And I believe I was the Michael Jordan of social studies in that classroom. But he knew it as soon as I showed up. He knew who I was. He looked at me and said, that guy's the Michael Jordan of social studies class. But I thought I was dumb. But by the end of the year, I thought I was a fucking genius. Because I was whooping everybody's ass in those quizzes. I was so far out ahead of everybody, it was ridiculous. And one man seeing who I was and being kind changed my whole life. I've never thought I was dumb since I met Joe Genovese. I feel bad. I feel shame. One day, one day, you know how kids act up, and I took a piece of chalk and I put it in Joe Genovese's coffee. I didn't get caught, and it wasn't because I didn't like him. I love Joe Genovese. It just, it's just what kids do, trying to show off. But see how a cable car guy he didn't change my whole life, but he changed the tone of my whole day. But Mr. Genovese, I'm sure that he changed a lot of people's lives, but none more than me. I bet he didn't run into too many guys like me, Michael Jordan, a social studies class, who grew up to be what I've grown up to be. But I'm just grateful for one guy. He was doing a simple job. He was in Kokomo, Indiana, working at Sycamore School, making nothing. And I wouldn't be here today talking to y'all without that man. Let me tell you about another man. When I was in 1997 in January, I was playing basketball at the Jordan YMCA, and somebody scored a basket, and we were running down court, and I got to half court, and I heard an explosion, and a little old lady had lost control of our car, and she drove through the gym, and she killed one of my friends. It was a really horrible thing. My wife says that she was told she lived in a dream world. She'd never amount to anything. Look at her now. Look at her now. Helping people all over the world. Betty says she's glad she wasn't in my class because she didn't want chalk in her coffee. I still feel bad about that. I should go look that guy up. I wonder if he's still around. I could apologize about the chalk. Then he'd know who put the chalk in his coffee. So January, I had this horrible experience of seeing my buddy killed, playing basketball. Then it's okay to use the F word, Soren. So, and then in August the 6th of 97, I was on a personal retreat at Brown County, which is a beautiful wooded area south of Indianapolis. I'm sorry, recovery with Cresta. Her brother just died of suicide, and he was an addict. And I never thought he would go like that. We're so sorry. I can't imagine what it would be like to go through a suicide. We're sending you love and grace and prayers. So my wife at the time called me, and she informed me that my mother had died of a heart attack. And I was on my little bitty motorcycle, which I still drive, a Honda Nighthawk 1985. And but it was too cold. It was, it was August, and it got a little nippy, not cold, but I couldn't drive that little motorcycle in the dark on the highway. So I had to spend the night by myself without a phone, all by myself. I couldn't call anybody. My cell phone were new back then. It didn't have very good coverage. And that's when I wrote the poem about my mom. A lot of you have heard it. That was a hard night. Then the end of August, I was playing basketball at my brother Sam's house, and I tore my ACL. 1997 was a really rough year for me. And so I went to get surgery, and I got referred to a doctor. I won't say his name, and he had this experimental approach where instead of taking pig guts or a false, a fake part to put in your ACL. Hi, Sarah Davis. He would go to taking parts out of your other knee to put in your bad knee. So then you had cuts on two of your knees. And so why am I telling you the story about my knee? There was a purpose to my story about the knee. Oh, I know. So he did a good job on the surgery, and then I'd go to his office. I'd wait for an hour to be seen by this guy, and then he'd have 6 residents learning how to do the surgery. He's surrounded. There I was in a room surrounded by this doctor and 6 residents, learners, baby doctors. And they looked at my knee. I swear to God, he said, "It's too bad we wasted this one." And what he meant was I had no scars, and my surgery and my appearance of my knees were perfect. But I didn't play basketball for the Indiana Pacers or for the Purdue Boilermakers or for the Indianapolis Colts. I was just a therapist who was old and fat. And it made me feel invisible. He was talking about me like I was invisible, like I wasn't a person. He would make me wait in his waiting room like I was invisible and I wasn't a person. So it's our responsibility to be true to ourselves and to heal ourselves. So when you're walking around, open a door for somebody. Give up your parking spot. Give somebody a compliment. Tell a joke. Be kind. When you're playing basketball with your buddies, call them motherfuckers and tell them not to come down the lane, and make them laugh. Annie says, little acts of kindness go a long way. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? So my little presentation was real simple today. It wasn't profound. It's just a simple little message about no matter what job you have, you could be the trash collector. You can shame people and make them feel shitty, or you can lift them up. I felt so lifted up on that cable car. I was so happy. It was the same cable car in the same city. The only thing different is the first one had 2 assholes on it, and the second one had a joyous, happy, caring, funny man. There's a lot to be said by being funny, you know, because being funny makes people happy. I don't know if you guys think this is funny, but I do. All right. So that's that part of the show. I'm done talking about that sowing joy. So let's just interact here. And I've missed a lot of things, so I'm sorry for that. And then I do have this from Marlene that we're going to get to, but we're just going to visit. Tamika, the storyteller, I love your name. Let's back up and see what you have to say. I'm dealing with many arseholes at the moment. It's no fun to deal with arseholes. And it's all about laughing my way through it and smiling. Gilligan, say it like it is, Fernando. Soren says, that's why I want to start my own therapy practice. I want to be able to laugh as much as I want without my asshole director telling me I'm being unprofessional. People come in my office, at the office, and first of all, Mr. Pauly's sitting there. Some people might think that's unprofessional. And I tell you what, I just joke the whole time they're there because stuff happens that's just funny. And there's been 3 times today I about fell off my chair because funny shit happened. And it's not unprofessional. It's joyous and alive. And you guys remember, I'm thinking there's been thoughts of suicide here. I'm thinking about Robin Williams and one of my very favorite movies, Dead Poets Society. What a movie. That man in the movie, the poet, he radiated unconventionalness. He radiated heart, baby. He radiated passion and words and poetry and romance and humor. And all that sense of self didn't really work out in that environment. So what'd they do? They blamed it all on him. That's an example of institutional narcissistic abuse. The guy who was responsible for his own son's death was the dad for being a dick. For you know, he grew up poor and he worked hard. He wanted his son to be a doctor, but his son was an actor. Mr. Pauly's in the house, but he hasn't been in my room all day. I think he's hanging out with Peyton, our cat, who's sleeping on my daughter's suitcase all day. She hasn't left the suitcase all day. My daughter Taylor's here. Renda's here. Zara's here. So Mr. Pauly is, I felt he's not getting paid today. He is not, Mr. Pauly is not getting paid today because he didn't come to work. So I'm just saying. Okay, let's visit some more. I'm going to back up a little bit. Let me go to the questions that came up earlier. Judy was talking about having PTSD, and she's like, is this ever going to go away? Judy, I don't want to go all the way back to the beginning of the show when you said that, but here's the thing. When you have complex PTSD, it's a lifelong condition. And yeah, thankfully, we get better and better and better. I got to pinch myself. I feel so good. It's been 4.5 years, and I just have a lot of joy in my life. I love basketball. I love Mr. Pauly. I love my work. I love making videos. I love y'all. I love my kids. I love my daughter. I love to travel. I love my wife, but my wife and I we're struggling a bit. We're doing some intensive work. Marriage is hard, and we're doing really hard work because you know what? When you get married, you marry the right person, and who do you marry? You marry an assassin. And my lovely wife has found out that I'm an assassin for her. And I found out that she's an assassin for me, but I do love her. And the weird thing is we're struggling with our marital issues, but we're both happier than we've ever been in our whole lives. That's sort of cool. And I'm on this diet, this keto diet, and I lost 20 pounds and I feel fantastic. I might have gained a couple pounds back, just 1 or 2, but I feel fantastic. I really do. So Judy, keep doing your program, meditate, pray, do yoga, exercise, do more meditation, take walks, get in nature, see a therapist, do some EMDR if you can. Get in a support group, do 12-step work, put one foot in front of another, cry, get massages, cry some more. You know what? In the first 6 months of my recovery from PTSD and narcissistic abuse, the most healing, powerful modality was massage for me. It's different for everybody. And you say, well, I can't afford massage. And I couldn't either. I ran my credit cards until they didn't run no more. I didn't give a flying you-know-what about money or not having money. I just knew when I got on the massage table and she touched me right there, it brought the little boy up. It brought the pain up. And so Judy, keep doing your work, crying your tears. You're going to have panic attacks. You're going to have triggers. But I promise that if you keep doing your work, you're going to get better, and it won't go away. I still get triggered by things. I still can't go in a bar that's loud. I'd rather take a stick in the eye than go in a loud bar. It traumatizes me. But I can't, when I'm driving and somebody's tailgating me, I pull over because I get nervous. I have a lot of little triggers and fears. Greenleaf, I told you I'd come back to you. You said you needed help with abusive parents. So, Greenleaf, if you're out there still and you want to talk about abusive parents, then now's the time for you to do it. There he is. Those of us who are abused by parents, are we broken, or is there rising above it all? How do you say your name? Tin U Vale? Those of us who are abused by our parents, well, Tin U Vale, we were all wounded by our parents. We maybe weren't all abused by our parents, but every single person on the planet was wounded by things that happened in their childhood. Are you broken? Well, hell yes, you're broken. We're all broken. We're all broken. Can you rise above it all? You certainly can. Just keep working your recovery. Get in a relationship with a freaking assassin. Do more work. Learn how to laugh. Surround yourself with good teachers. Elated Dahlia knows my story because she called me a purple baby. When I was a little baby, my mama sat me in the backyard and she just let me cry. And she didn't take care of me. And I cried until I turned purple. So that's what she's saying. Thank you. Soren says, my mom is a joyless a-hole. I can't be excited about anything. I have to keep it to myself and reveal my joy to the safe folks. Recovery with Cresta says, watch funny movies and sing and dance. That's good advice right there. Good advice. Soren says, I look good. Well, I've lost weight, and then yesterday I got in the sun. But thank you, Soren. I appreciate it. Tiffany she's loving being guilty of excessive happiness. Well, I love that you experience excessive happiness. So am I. And Annie, can you expand on being an assassin? Oh, my goodness gracious. You know what? I'm going to refer you to some of my videos. I made a video about 2 weeks ago, and I was explaining that we all marry assassins, and some knucklehead got on there on the comments, and he suggested I was blaming the victim. And I tell you what, that fired me up, and I don't think I've ever explained the concept of you marry an assassin with more sharp words than I did in that. I think it's called being responsible for your issues is not blaming the victim or something like that. It's about 3 videos ago. Soren watched it and he said, Mark Smith on this video, he came to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and he was all out of bubble gum. So no, Annie, your sexuality is calibrated by your woundedness. So who are you going to be attracted to? You're going to be attracted to somebody who's very much like the person who wounded you. And you like who you like. How you know that they're probably like your mom and daddy? Because they don't seem like your mom and daddy. Because you like them. That's how you know. I just assume anybody I like is going to be a handful. So, Mother Nature wants to heal you. Mother Nature is all about wanting to heal you. You know, if I cut my finger, then immediately red blood platelets arrive on the scene, coagulate the blood. Two weeks later, I don't even have a cut on my finger. The finger got healed by Mother Nature. So Mother Nature wants to do that to your gut, to your heart, to your soul. But we're too walled off. Mother Nature gave us defense mechanisms. I'd draw it, but I'm tired. Oh, well, here's my board. I'll just go ahead and draw it for you. So we all get wounds in our childhood, right? And then Mother Nature comes along and puts these defense mechanisms in front of us. You start getting defense mechanisms about 18 months old. But if you're wounded before 18 months old, like many of us were, you're screwed because you ain't got nothing to protect you. So here you are. That's your typical child, really on through somebody into their 30s. They're well defended because it's not time to work on your issues when you're a little kid. It's time to play. The job of a kid is to play and to grow up and to get out of Dodge. The second thing Mother Nature wants you to do is keep your walls up so you'll be dumb enough, you'll be insane enough, you'll be naive enough to get married, fall in love, get married, and have kids. And you'll think it's so wonderful. We're young. Our poo-poo doesn't stink. We are in love. We got married. We go to church. We have these beautiful babies. We're going to live happily ever after. How many people think it turns out that way? It don't. The third thing that happens, or the third agenda Mother Nature has, is wants to heal you. This person is unhealable. Why? Because they're all blocked off. They're all defended. Mother Nature needed a tool to break you, to cut you open, to slice you open. This person right here, when this person comes in my office, I give them a hug and I say, I'm going to change your life forever because I got a lot to work with because you're ready. You're in the right place at the right time, my brother. Let's get to it. I can help this person. Even a bad therapist could help this person. So here's Mother Nature's dilemma. We needed to find a mechanism to knock the walls down. What could it be? Let's see. Could it be counseling? How many people in recorded history have seen a good counselor? Hardly any. Let's see, what else could we pick? Could it be religion? Well, is it fair that part of the world gets the right religion and the rest of the world gets the wrong religion? And even if it was Christianity, was Christianity's mission to cut you open so that you healed? No. Christianity, good, healthy faith comes from in here. But it doesn't peel you open. So there's only one thing that could be the mechanism of Mother Nature, the hand of God, and that is romantic love. The purpose of romantic love is to make you totally friggin' miserable. Did you guys not know this? Have you noticed this in your relationships? You mesh and you're totally friggin' addicted. Then you pull apart and you find out that they're just like your narcissistic dad or your borderline mom or your alcoholic dad. And it cuts you open. And if you're unenlightened, all you learned is your husband was an asshole. But if you're enlightened, what do you learn? You learn about yourself. You learn about your family of origin. You cry your tears. You show the little boy. You show the little girl. Renda and I see Dr. Bern Baca, who's one of the best therapists in Indianapolis. He's a Mago therapist. And we get in there and we start regressing, acting like little kids and throwing spitballs at each other. And he goes, "It's not about the other person. Quit taking it personally." Doesn't he, honey? But it's hard not to take it personally when the other person's, being fussy britches. Gilligan's asking, how's Taylor doing? Taylor's doing good. She did have a little hospitalization a couple months ago, and we're trying to get her into a good treatment center. But my daughter is really special. All my kids are really special. My God, I have good kids. They're all gorgeous and they're all brilliant. I think they got both those things from their mama. One thing they got from me is they're all deep. They're all really deep. I visited Denver a couple weeks ago, and I had a talk with my youngest daughter that was maybe the best talk I've ever had with her. It was really, really beautiful and deep. Soren has a question. How do you deal with joyless people? I feel like there are so many people who are just too damn serious. They talk so much shit about me when I'm excessively happy. That's a good question, Soren. Just don't pay them no never mind. I didn't get mouthy with the prison guard on the cable car. I did disobey him because I went ahead and sat down when he told me not to. But if I would have engaged with those guys and said they were jerks, I'd have got tossed off the cable car. So try not to take it personally. And I went to dinner with one of my buddies the other day, and the waitress was there, and she had this exact thing, and she had gotten it from San Francisco. So I tried to have a couple jokes about it, and I think she took my intentions wrong. I was just trying to have fun and make my buddy laugh and make her laugh and have fun. I thought it was unusual that she had gotten this from San Francisco, and so did I. But she's sort of a mean person. So I just didn't take it personally. I just went on and laughed and carried on. Let me tell you about my buddy, Lenny. I love this guy. He's my basketball buddy. And ever since we met, there's just been a bond between us. This guy. I show up at the gym. There's 30 guys in the gym. I swear to God, he goes, "Hi, sweetie." And he does it to embarrass me. And it mortifies me every time he does it. But he keeps doing it. Anyway, he retired from playing with the young fellas Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But on Sunday, we play with these lovely Chinese basketball players. Most of them are a little low on the talent level. And so us old farts can hold our own. But Lenny's he's been grumpy the last 3 or 4 weeks. Nobody throws him the ball. He's losing. I'm whooping his ass. And I've been trying. I sent him pictures of us playing. I asked him if he wanted a hug. I told him I loved it. I'm just trying to joke with him. He did come back and play with us, but ended up being grumpy again. So to answer your question, Soren, you can joke. You can not take it personally. You can share love. You can share humor, but you can't put a smile on someone's face who's determined not to have one. If they're going to be fussy britches, they're going to be fussy britches. But I sure do try to make Lenny laugh because I love him. Okay. Does anybody have any questions real quick before I get to Marlene? Beating abuse. Hi, everybody. It was good to hear from the group. Don't forget positive self-talk and affirmations. Also, the human touch is very healing. My best friend is named Fred Freeman, and he's one of the finest massage therapists in Indianapolis, Indiana. And I've been friends with him for like 30 years. And that's what he does, is he brings healing touch to folks. Sometimes they, healing touch is just so important. Recovery with Cresta, touching on the core wounding. I don't know what y'all are talking about. Somebody's awesome. Question, Gilligan says, I never married or had kids, and I bailed out of society early. What's wrong with me? Gilligan, ain't nothing wrong with you. Oh, Tamika says, I'm awesome. Well, that's nice of you. Thank you. I don't know if my wife thinks I'm awesome. Gilligan, what you did was you tried to make your life safe. Dating wasn't safe. Society wasn't safe. The only thing that's wrong with you is the thing that's wrong with everybody, and that is we're all broken. We all grow up in really dysfunctional homes. Gilligan, don't ever think there's anything wrong with you other than you're just normal. Everybody's broken. Everybody's broken. All right. I'm going to get into Marlene's letter. I might have to cut it's already 9:33. We got about 27 minutes left, so I got to get into this, and then I got to pee. Y'all didn't need to know that I had to pee, did you? My wife says that I'm gross. I was talking with my wife and my daughter, and they say I burp too much and I fart too much. But I think it's a nasty rumor. Okay, Marlene. Hello, Mark. I'd like to say that the long preface I wrote yesterday was cathartic for me. It opened up old wounds and it made me cry. Well, that's a good thing, Marlene, to have catharsis and crying. Gilligan says, thanks, everybody. I guess I did grow up feeling stress and I was never safe. And then she says, whew, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm okay. On April the 19th, 2019, Marilyn says, my husband met a Jezebel covert narcissist online. Right away, she said, "Hi, handsome," and she hooked him. Three days later, he told her he loved her, and she told him he has captured her heart forever. That's some kind of bullshit right there. It's online and it's 3 days and there's I love yous going back and forth. I saw her on the computer, but she didn't see me, and I could read her and I knew what was coming. A week after they met online, they met at a hotel, and she wasn't as excited to see him. Not so much happened. She lives in Vegas, 60 miles from where we live. As soon as she returned home, drama arrived. She had a mad stalker after her, and she was surrounded by the FBI for protection. Dang, Marlene, I didn't know we were getting into an interesting drama. My husband had hitmen after him, but not to worry, the FBI was watching. Are you making this up, Marlene? I didn't read this ahead of time. This sounds sort of fascinating. They spent 20 hours a day on FaceTime. Are you serious? 20 hours a day on FaceTime? That's really sick. And he loved giving her all the attention she craved. They couldn't see each other because my husband didn't have clearance with the FBI. If you start dating somebody and they surrounded by the FBI, run! Run! They're surrounded by the FBI. That's bad juju. Get the fuck out of Dodge. I'm just saying. Marlene says she ain't lying. She's serious as a heart attack. He wasn't cleared by the FBI. She seems to be sick most of the time, near death, but still managed to do FaceTime. Things got ugly fast. She was always on the phone, so she overheard our conversations. I wound up in the hospital from an attempted suicide. I'm sorry, Marlene. I know how much rejection and infidelity hurts, but this knucklehead really isn't your problem. Your problem, as you know, is the wounds of your childhood, dear one. I just couldn't take the drama and the insanity, and shortly after that, he raped me, and he was acting out in a sick way, pretending that I was her. 2 weeks after the hospital, I wound up in jail. Now, Marlene, you're making this up. 2 weeks out of the hospital, you ended up in jail? If this is true, this is one of the most Marlene says, no, I'm not lying. All right, let's find out why Marlene ended up in jail. Okay. He was doing something disturbing. I begged him to stop, but he wouldn't stop, so I slowly melted down, and he ran after me. So I grabbed a knife to defend myself, and he quickly pulled out his iPhone and taped me melting down while holding a knife. And off to jail I went. Hey, you know what? Tamika said she had cut his balls off. Whoo! Whoo! I wouldn't want to mess with Tamika, the storyteller. You go cheating and raping, she'll slice your nuts off. It's what she just said right there. I better be careful. You know what, Marlene? When you're traumatized and you have PTSD, I'll be honest with you guys. I snapped at one point, and I went looking for a man. Good thing I didn't find him. Because if I'd have found him, I would also not be here. I'd be in the penitentiary because I wasn't myself. I was broken and shattered, and I was temporarily insane. This was 4.5 years ago. He went off to Vegas to be with her, and she told him that a hotel would be better. He stayed for 10 days, and she visited him every day, a little less time each passing day. Our daughter checked her out and saw recent pictures of her with her husband in Hawaii while she was in the witness protection program. Another red flag when you're dating somebody, if they're in the witness protection program, that's not like especially good. While she was in Hawaii with my husband, my husband checked out her home, and it looked like the home that she was at FaceTime. He started seeing red flags, and he began to doubt her honesty. She was caught and admitted that she lied about everything. Then she started to tell the same lies again, and he believed her lies again. He started thinking he was losing his mind. That's called gaslighting. When somebody lies to you and your gut's telling you one thing and they're telling you another, it's gaslighting. Eventually, I found out the catalyst, the person she claimed to know very well. I talked to him, and he told me he never even met this woman. My husband talked to him and believed him. After that, she attacked that man's Facebook page. My husband told her he was sick of waiting and wanted to move in with her, and she said, "No, I'm not paying your bills anymore. I'm blocking you from my Facebook page." That was over the 4th of July. After that, he was in a fetal position for 2 days, and then he was just a statue. So, Marlene, your husband was a victim of narcissistic abuse, and you were collateral damage is what happened. I mean, God bless you and God bless him. I'm serious. Even though Tamika wants to cut his nuts off. He started to come around slowly, but he showed his anger toward me. He lost his mind, and he's still evil and angry toward me. So he turned. I stay silent, but what a perfect plan. Silence me, and he doesn't have to address the issue. The end. I don't know if this will ever be resolved. We live together in separate bedrooms, and he's gone 12 hours a day. He works for Uber. I'm in bed when he gets home. The mornings are difficult but quiet. He's become very protective about his computer and what he is hiding. He said his computer is personal and none of my business. I told him that it's not an issue before. That's my story. Can you edit it any way you want? Thank you, Marlene. All right, I'm going to open it up to the community. Y'all heard the story. It was a doozy and a half, wasn't it? Give Marlene some feedback, wise people, okay, about her current situation with her angry, abusive husband who's driving Uber 12 hours a day, comes home, and he's hiding what's on his computer. Soren says, run, run, run. Tamika says, well, maybe don't cut his balls off. Tamika said, just walk away. You know what my favorite quote is? Well, I don't know, Marlene. I don't know what to tell you. Say you have no place to go. Here's my favorite quote. Truly powerful people, they don't need to explain their need to be respected. They simply do not engage with people who do not respect them. Tamika, the storyteller, says, get your life back. More feedback. Many people are in this situation where you're suffering from narcissistic abuse and you ain't got no money. It's nice to have love. It's nice to have YouTube, but you're going to need to have some money, right? To pay the bills, to live. Marlene, are you yelling at us when you're doing the capitals, or are you just stirred up? Marlene says, I don't engage with him. He says I've got a bad attitude. Marlene, honey, there's a possibility that you do maybe have a teeny bit of a bad attitude. So type it in capitals is your style. Recovery with Cresta says, escaping from crazy town is the only way out. Self-love, learn and heal. It's the only way to get out and get help. Well, Jamaica says he deserves Marlene being reactive. But here's the thing, is we're responsible for our behavior. My wife's giggling in the other room. My wife's responsible for my wife's behavior, but I'm not responsible for mine. You're gonna communicate better with vulnerability than you will by being reactive. So Marlene, listen, quit doing your capital thing, all right? Of all the men on the planet, Marlene, for you to marry, you married a needy little boy who fell for a con artist. Thank you for okaying me with those cute little letters. So the question you need to ask yourself, Marlene, is what happened in my childhood that caused me to marry this guy? What happened in my childhood that's caused me to stay with Guy after he'd done what he did? This isn't about him, Marlene. This is about you. This is about you. This is about your childhood. My wife says we're each of us responsible for our own behavior. Soren says it took me 31 years to realize I needed to get a skill and be independent. And that gives you some options. Tamika, the storyteller, which I'm gaining a lot of respect for, says I stopped yelling and I started to talk calmly, and it's more effective even when it touched on a sore point with me. So, Marlene, you created your life. You created your financial situation. You chose this man to help heal you. It's all about your family of origin. And I get that you're in a financial bind. I don't have any easy answers for you. You're welcome, Tamika the storyteller. You earn respect. You're laying out some wisdom tonight. I appreciate it. Hey, Suzanne's here. Hi, Suzanne. I'm playing with my magic wand tonight. Soren says, my mom hates it when I talk to her like a rational, calm adult, and it pisses her off even more. It makes me happy. Hey, Soren. Hey, bro. That could be individuation, or it could be a little bit of passive aggressiveness. I suspect it might be a little bit of passive aggressiveness, dude. You enjoy jerking her chain just a little bit too much, I think. Jackie says, Marlene, you're never alone. People care. So, Marlene, watch YouTube videos. I want you to read the book. I want every one of y'all, if you haven't read the book, Getting the Love You Want by Harville Hendrix. Soren, you're not a troll. You're just a little passive aggressive with your mama. Who's never been passive aggressive with their mean old cranky mama? You're not a troll. Marlene says, I have Jesus and I pray for him and myself. So I want you to read Getting the Love You Want by Harville Hendrix. And find the best therapist that you can afford. You may pay $0, but go. Joe Starr, hello everybody. I'm leaving in a few days out of my narcissistic parents' home. Well, congratulations. But she said, he or she said, I'm a little bit scared because it has to be done. Lance, what's up? Lance says, detach emotionally first, then quietly start taking slow steps to gain independence and asking for help as well. And do it all under the radar, and then the day will come to make the break. I think he's addressing you, Marlene. Dee Dee, my sibs are the only ones who haven't called me and checked up on me. I had cancer for a year plus, nearly died. Our prayers are with you, Dee Dee. So we've got about 8 minutes left, and I'm tired. I've had a long day. I'm pooped. What else you guys got to say? Marlene saying hi to Lance. People like you, Lance. Did you know that? Every time Lance gets on, he comes on late, and everybody's like, Lance, what's up? I would ask that that y'all pray for Renda and I, because we're struggling with some stuff, but we're both being very courageous in our work. Diana Carroll, for many of us, when Miss or Mr. Fix-It have done all we could do, it creates our tunnel vision and our struggle to get out of the fog. Life-sucking vampires are detectable to me now. Well, good for you, Diana, that you can recognize the life-sucking vampires. Tamika the storyteller says, this has been very inspiring. Well, you've been inspiring too. Soren says, why South Carolina and not Florida? Well, Soren, when I was married the first time for 27 years, my wife worked for RCI, the condo place, and we got free condos in Myrtle Beach. And the beaches are really wide. And we didn't have a lot of money back then. Driving to Florida took 20 hours. Driving to Myrtle Beach took 13. So every spring break, we'd go to Myrtle Beach. And it just feels like home. I've been here so many times. So that's why we live in Myrtle Beach and not in Florida. Annie has prayers for Mark and Renda. Jilligan says, get some rest. You've earned it. My wife bought me fish. She went to the fish house with my daughter and got fish. And as soon as I get done with this, I'm going to listen to my football show and I'm going to eat the fish my wife bought for me. Marlene, is it normal for my husband to be so angry? How long will he behave like this? I think he's angry at the narcissistic person who swindled him. But I'm going to say something harsh. This is harsh. I don't mean it harsh. Please believe me, folks. But you're acting like his bitch. You're acting like his controlled, passive, disrespected person because you're letting him disrespect you. So he's angry at her and he's kicking the dog. And you the dog. I didn't mean that in a bad way. I hope you understand that. Beating abuse. Thank you, Family Tree and the groupies. Y'all been called groupies. Oh my God, for keeping this stream going. It's a good place for us to support and encourage each other and gain valuable insights. Thank you, Beating Abuse. Diane Carroll, my dad and codependent mom, and then 2 husbands that were just like my dad. I'm almost 50 and I hope to know the real me soon. Diana, it's probably going to take a while to get to know the new you. Elated Dahlia, you're saying who to what? Gilligan says, here in South Carolina, it's hot and humid like all hell. Not for very long, just during a little bit during the summertime. Soren says it's 40 below in Vermont. Annie says we're Mark and Renda groupies. God help you. Marlene said, I figured that out, and now he demands that I have to be sweet, but he doesn't change and he's still angry no matter what. Dude, get away from the angry man. When you walk in and the puppy hides underneath the coffee table, the puppy's smart. If you get within kicking distance and you don't hide under the coffee table, dear heart, you arranging for your own butt kicking. You got to protect yourself. Ain't nobody else going to do it but your own self. Sarah said, my whole town went to Myrtle Beach for Easter. Recovery with Cresta. Blessed be to all. Good night. We got 2 minutes left, folks, and I'm about out of having a voice. Diane says, yes, I've been alone for 7 years now, and I refuse to even not be alone until I fix me. Soren says, I avoid by going to the public library. You avoid dating? What are you avoiding? Elated Dahlia says she loses train of conversations. What, when I called somebody a bitch, that somebody was somebody's bitch, is that when you're like, who's he calling somebody's bitch? I meant it in a nice way. Oh, Soren goes to the library to avoid his parents. Lance says, funny, that's what helped me a lot to leave the narcissists. What, going to the library? Tamika the storyteller, thanks so much. Have a great night. See y'all next time. In 2 weeks, what's today? Today's the 13th. On the 27th, we have the honor of having Mr. Jerry Wise coming to you from the main office of Family Tree Counseling in Indianapolis, Indiana. Jerry's a big deal, man. He recently did an hour and 45-minute workshop, and somebody believes in his work so much that they paid him to make that workshop, and they flew him out to California, got him a nice hotel. That's how good this guy is. So the weather in Indiana last time I was there was lovely. It was about 82 with a cool breeze and sunny every day. So Jerry will be here in 2 weeks. I'll probably be his monitor dude. I love y'all. Thank you for putting up with my silliness and my rubber chicken. And we will see y'all next time. I don't see the button to turn this off. I guess we're just going to keep talking. Maybe it's that. It's not that. In stream. It's that. Hey, thank you for an awesome time. I love y'all. And Jerry, we'll see you in 2 weeks. God bless.